All right, everybody. Hi, welcome back to the FFP Minisode podcast, the whole deal. Sorry about last week for the 2 or 3 of you that actually pay attention to the cadence of these episodes. I did not do a minisode last week. What was it? So I usually record my minisodes on a Wednesday, and then put it out the next day, right? So last Wednesday we actually had the cleaners come in. When Mark was scheduling it, he usually schedules the house cleaners when we just need like kind of a deep, when I want like a deep thing going on, deep clean. He was like, oh, how's Wednesday in the afternoon? I'm like, perfect. I work from home. And I was like, what was I thinking? I usually record that day. I should have done the recording either earlier in the day or, I just didn't plan. That's the overall message here. So when I realized that, and by the time they were done, it was the end of the day, Mark was coming back in. I'm not trying to disrupt, as supportive as he is. So I was like, I'll just record it Thursday and just put it out later in the day. Not a big deal. Well, I forgot. But as I've always said since day one, I do what I want. But anyway, so the biggest new development in my life lately is, can you guess? Drum roll, please. No, I'm just kidding. On Monday, gosh, where's my water? Monday, I started my cut, which is great. I feel like it's the first time I've ever done one, to be honest. Because when I first started this process with the FFP and being coached by a professional, you are at ground zero, right? Just because you don't know everything and you're learning and you're practicing and you're developing new habits, you don't do everything the right way. You log things improperly, you get lazy, you overindulge, you drink too much. There's all this that's going on that isn't, helpful, right? I got an itch. So, and it's not to, criticize, but that's just how it is for everybody. You're a baby, basically, at the beginning of this process, and you are learning your baby steps, and you're learning and growing. Anyhow, so over the past few years, I technically have done cuts before and obviously have seen great progress. But that effort during those times was, to be honest, the effort and the lack of knowledge or practice and the habits, stopped being so difficult. You know what I mean? That amount of effort was probably 60-70% effort and precision with what I did. And, it was always a mix of something. The steps were a little low, missed a workout, didn't track this properly, or had a, cheat meal. What do we call those now? I can't remember. And it was a cheat meal, but it was a little too much. So, things like that and that accumulation of all that. And it's also really encouraging because, let's say that again, because it was 60-70% of my efforts, I still got great progress. And that's really encouraging if you think about it. So with where I'm at now, and if you've kept up with me in my super exciting life, back in January, I kind of had just a little bit of a switch, just kind of flip in my brain of like, stop bullshitting around, bro. Like, you need to stop paying for this. Like, that was a motivating factor. It was just like, I can't keep paying for this. Like, we gotta move on at some point, and we gotta get going. We can't be standing still, doing half-assed effort. So let's just go. It's not the big deal. Anyway, so it's been so great since then. And I've been doing my maintenance calories, reverse diet, maintenance, whatever you want to call it. And it's been great. Obviously, it's really easy to do when you're eating 2,300 calories a day. Not perfect, obviously, but just so much better. I'm probably up to 80, no, a little more than that, probably about 90%, I'd say, confidently, unobjectively, or objectively. I don't know, but it's a lot better. That's all that matters. And Lindsay let me know I was going to be doing this deficit here starting April 1st. So I like, Lindsay, if you're listening, this is a little tip for how to coach me. What I like to know what to expect. So I love that I knew what was about to happen. So I could kind of mentally be like, all right, my cut's starting April 1st. I knew for about a month. It kind of just came out of her mouth when we were recording a episode one day. And I was like, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. That sounds great. Which generates questions. I just like to know what to expect. It's just like a workout. I like to see what I'm about to do. I can mentally prepare. I can organize. I can kind of see where I need to be and blah, blah, blah. You know, same thing. So for this, it's like, obviously a deficit's not going to last forever. Well, how long are we doing this for? Which, I don't know, probably about eight weeks, right? We'll see. But yeah, so needless to say, I'm excited for that. It's been only 3 days. Been doing really good. I am down to 1865 calories, which is a big jump. And what she said in my check-in was like, it's a big jump, but we're going to be motivated by progress. And that was just such a great sentence. And it's so true. When you start seeing progress, it's motivating. And I also roped in Marky to this little deficit situation. In the past, when I've tried to get him to like do things with me, he would kind of do it. He kind of would not, but like any normal person would. But it was actually surprisingly easy to convince him. He's not been feeling great with the number on the scale. Should I say that? I mean, whatever. He's been wanting to make some positive changes for himself. So I'm like, hey, honey, let's do this. He's been seeing my progress. So I think like the changes that he's seen for me over the past several weeks versus when I tried to do it in the past, it's like, all right, there's something to this. Not that he didn't doubt that the stuff I was doing wasn't going to lead anywhere. You know, majority of people are, I'll believe it when I see it. As much as you don't want to admit it, we all are to a degree, right? I'll believe it when I see it. And it's true. You want to believe it when you see it. And so he's seen some of it. And I'm always pointing it out to him, like, see that extra little definition? So yeah, he's been doing it with me. And he's been like such a great little student. I'm like a little Miss Coach over here, little wifey coach. Well, girlfriend coach, you know what I mean. And he's always a open-minded kind of guy. And so I got to learn to not be so intense or overwhelming and just kind of pretty much back off. So we've had conversations prior, but I was like, you'd do really good just at a basic 2,000 calories, 150 plus protein. You know, just stick with that, real easy. Just hit the basics, drink your water, move whenever you can. And that pretty much, that's the secret sauce. So he's been doing really good. He's like, all right, how do I use this scale? What am I doing? And I'm like, oh, you're asking questions. How cute. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, where's your protein at? You know, how are you doing? And he'll be kind of low, and I'll say, all right, add like 2 more ounces of this because this is what we're eating for dinner. And then you can add in these cookies and this protein milk. And he's like, really? I'm like, yes, you're starting to see the beauty and how great flexible dieting and macro tracking really is. You hit your protein, and we were just talking about it at lunch. He's at like 150, he's logged 150 grams of protein so far. And I was like, but yeah, what are your calories at? He's like, oh, like 16, 17 something. I'm like, what? well, okay, that's kind of fair. It's fine because I have a lower calorie goal. But he's like, then I'll do something. I'll think of something to put in there. I was like, yeah, that's exactly it. Those are your fun calories. You get your protein in those. That's your fun calories. This is the fun of it. And so it's doing good. We're doing really good over here. Us, we're so cute. So anyway, that's the biggest new development, and I love that it's going to be happening right before summer. Already shopping for new bathing suits. We've had our big bathing suit conversation already, so I'll leave it at that. And gosh, I'm sorry. Let me drink some water. I'm like, am I behind on my water? It's 1:47 right now. Well, yeah. Okay, I'm a little bit behind. I swear, water, I just don't think that will ever be like the thing that is just a mindless thing. I think I have a baseline of what I would drink naturally, which would be pretty high if you compare it to like a normal person who doesn't give a fuck. My baseline of my natural water drinking throughout the day would be high, but I just feel like it will always be such a huge effort to get in a whole fucking gallon. It's just so hard. Oh, and the other changes that I have to do with this deficit is 10,000 steps a day. Did I already say that? That's awful. Well, it's 2:00 and I've already hit it. But it's just, I don't like that. I don't like that. Well, I will. I'll love it when we start to see, some little ab situation going on. Anyway, I want to do, one second. Why am I being distracted right now? We got to do our little Reddit corner. Let's go. Okay, I got a handful of things I think will be pretty good. Let's see. Okay, Jasmine, are you ready? I don't want to do that one. We're starting off pretty intellectual. How many do we have? Yeah, that's a good amount. Okay. All right, Jasmine. What is the meaning of life, and does it change depending on the individual? This is such a good question. I think about this kind of thing a lot, and it's something that I've thought about ever since I was little. I remember when I was little, I have always had these existential thoughts like, what is life? What are we here for? The stars, the universe, we're but a glimmer of light. We're nothing, But, based on how I grew up with my spirituality and my religion and what I've learned in adulthood and bringing all that together, I genuinely feel that the meaning of life really is to love. Okay, I know how that sounds. It sounds very cliche. But honestly, though, that it is the most powerful thing in the world. You cannot argue that. Money is powerful, but it's just, it doesn't compare. Because where there's love, there's no evil, right? Where there's money, there can be great things. There can be awful things too at the same time. But true love for your neighbor, for your kitty cat, for your spouse, that, you just can't beat that, honestly. So if we learn to harness that and to love ourselves and love what's around us and appreciate, those kinds of things, I think that just brings so much fulfillment to your life. And it is such a deep, it's so influential. That's the thing that will influence people for the better. And that will be the thing that leaves your legacy behind on this earth. You might be some billionaire who, created, something great. But, eventually that will kind of go away. It'll just be a name in a textbook. And I mean, not that I'm trying to be in textbooks or anything, but you kind of see what I'm saying. Like, I just think that's the meaning of life. And it kind of checks all the boxes if you think about it. All right, let's go on to the next one because I could talk about that for a while. Okay, this is a good one. If you could choose any era to live in, past or future, when would it be? Definitely not the future. Are you kidding me? It's already awful. But in the past, I've thought a lot about this. Honestly, I don't think I would go that far back because I still want the comforts of modern day life, let's be honest. And I don't want to go to the bathroom outside. I definitely want the era to be where the potties are on the inside. We're workshopping this. So I'm thinking like, I really like the 1940, 1950s era, even though that was kind of the beginning of the serial killer era. Oof, this is tough. But I like the romanticism of the 40s and 50s, or maybe even the 20s. Just like the style. You still had some somewhat modern day luxuries. You weren't too hard. Things weren't too awful back then. There definitely had its own challenges, some wars going on. But yeah, something like that, the outfit, no, I go back to my original answer. It would definitely be like the 40s or the 50s. You're kind of out of like the World War II era. You'd still have to live through the 60s and 70s. That's the only problem. Those were fun too. A lot of like the big sexual revolution was going on then, and women's rights was really becoming a thing. And so I think that's what I would pick. Probably mostly because of the outfits. They're so cute and stylish. And yeah, all right. That's what I would do. Okay. Don't listen to this one, Jasmine. If you could have any animal's communication ability, which would you choose? I mean, there's no question about this. I absolutely need to be able to communicate with my cats. She's annoyed right now. Look at her tail. Can you see that? It's flicking. How epic would that be? Be like Dr. Dolittle, but just with like the cat world. Have you seen that movie, Inside Out? Such a cute movie. Go on Disney Plus, watch it right now. Do I explain it? Okay, I'll just explain it real quick. It's basically like a movie about like the different emotions are little people inside your brain, and they're the ones controlling things, and you kind of see like the character living out her life based on like these. She's like a young teenager. You got the anger, you got sadness, you got joy, which was her real name, and then the paranoid dude. What was that emotion? The scared one. Anyway. And there are all these like little characters in your brain just kind of figuring things out. It's such a cute movie. And at the very end, after the credits, it was showing like what people's brains look like with those same characters. So like you got the dad with all the characters like watching football or something and not paying attention to the mom. And then it goes to like a cat. And it shows this little kitty just hanging out on a little doorstep, and it zooms into its eyes, and it's like the cat's inside the cat brain starts walking on like the panel of emotions, and it just goes nuts. That was an awful explanation, but it's just so funny thinking about what goes on inside their little brains, and I really gotta know. All right, next. Okay. How do you cope with stressful situations? Great question. Thanks for asking. I deal with that every single day. I take a snuggle with my emotional support cats. But honestly, I kind of rationalize to myself, if you will, like, this is, because I'm thinking about my job. My job is the most stressful thing in my life right now, and it's not even that bad. So my life is pretty great, thank God. Knock on wood. But it can be a lot of like really high highs and really low, frustrating, irritating lows with my job. And something happened even today where it's like, fuck, you kidding me? Like, and it's just not helpful for my paycheck. It's not helpful for my numbers that my boss looks at. And that's stressful. And honestly, it's like, this is part of the job. This happens all the time. You're not alone. This happens to everybody. And you just got to keep moving forward. Just let it go. It's not going to keep happening. That kind of thing. I just like have to have a conversation with myself. Basically, like, if it's a stressful situation with someone in my personal life or something like that, I just have to have a conversation with myself and think, like, how is this going to affect me in 5 years? What is the most helpful thing to do now? You know, just asking myself lots of questions to kind of talk out of it. And once I've done that, you know, but my emotions are still pretty low, honestly, I just watch TV. I'll scroll on TikTok, watch some cute little like dog and cat videos. You know, I've rationalized my rational brain, my mind, it knows that it's okay, everything's fine, but my emotions are kind of behind and haven't quite caught up yet. I'll just kind of give myself that little boost, go on a walk or, you know, snuggle with Mark, you know, just something that will offer the serotonin in my brain in a healthy way that doesn't have calories. Next. Whoops. Here we go. Well, this is kind of in the same, I'll skip that one. What was the dumbest thing you believed as a child? I believed for a while that alligators lived above my bedroom ceiling. I am not sure where that came from. I don't even know if I should have known what alligators were. No, I was old enough. I don't know why I thought that, but that was just like, I think maybe because it was such an old house that there were critters up there in the attic, and the only rational reason, the only thing that could possibly be up there were alligators. That's so stupid. If I was an old lady, what type of things would I collect? More of these cats. I was actually just thinking about that. I saw this little video of this girl. She had a cat give birth to kittens. I was so jealous. I would just want that. I want that. Anyway. Ooh, this is a good one. Extraterrestrials land. You can ask them one question and one question only. What would it be? I'm not quite sure how I would ask it, so let's workshop it. I would ask something along the lines of, like, what do you believe? Like, do you believe that there is a God? Like, what is it that you worship? I just would be so curious to see, because this would really answer the question for those I'll believe it when I see it sort of people of, wow, that sounded really judgmental. You know what I mean? Like it would basically, like, there's no, like, the atheist, you can't say that God isn't real, because if they have like the same thing in their planet, like, how do you explain that? Like, that would be so cool to find out. I honestly believe aliens exist. Well, wait, we already know that. It's not even a theory anymore. But that's something that I would ask, like, what is it that you believe? You know, do you go to church? Is church a thing? That would just be kind of the overall thing that would connect us all, right? I don't know, something like that. What else would you ask, though? That would be the most mind-blowing thing, to be honest. Assuming we speak the same languages and could actually communicate. Honestly, but that would be pretty wild if it was like we spoke the same languages. I don't know. Let me know what you think. All right. Let's see. Okay, 2 more. What's the best way to handle a power-hungry colleague? Let them do their thing, man. If you're competing for the same situation. I don't know, but in my work, they're definitely power hungry people, and those are the ones to watch out for. The people with the biggest mouths are the ones who are gonna have the biggest fall, honestly. I've seen it happen where Mr. Big Hotshot Big Talker, Mr. Smarty Pants is wowing and razzling and dazzling the big boss, and then all of a sudden they're not there anymore. Like, I wonder what happened. Like, those are the ones you gotta watch out for. So honestly, just let them do their thing. If they have awful qualities, it's okay to like point those out. I am definitely somebody who needs to get people off the horse if they need to. Like, this is good for you. You're not on a high horse. This is not good. This is not good. Let's get you down from there. It's better. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, last question of the day. What were the punishments you received as a kid from your parents? All right, how long do we have? Well, the physical abuse, just kidding, well, spanking. That was definitely the most common. We were actually just talking about this with a couple friends. I was talking about how my mom, she got a wild hair one day and thought, hey, this broken fishing pole is actually an excellent source of hitting my children with. Because it was so easy. You know how like flexible they are? You just had to do a quick flick of the wrist, and that motherfucker, little red, tiny, skinny red well along your bare bottom. Oh my God. That was so bad that I like destroyed it. I snuck to wherever she kept it. I don't even know where she kept it. And I destroyed it. I was like, this is not happening. We were so scared for our lives because we even got to the point where we just like the Monopoly game, my brother created these get out of a spanking cards. So bad. Because like never had that thought occurred to us before with the regular whoopings. But when it came down to this fishing pole being used on our butts, it changed us. That was so bad. But so that was a very short-lived moment in our disciplinary life and past. Thank God. But she used a number of things, especially if we were in the car. Like, for some reason, at one point, she had a hanger in the car that was used on us. I love you, Mommy. I've actually thought, like, how I would discipline my kids when I have kids. And honestly, I don't know if I would spank. I am definitely going to be a huge disciplinarian because actions should always have consequences. And I don't like people getting away with things that should not get away with. I have a very, very deep-seated conviction with that. Do not get away with something that you shouldn't. So I don't know if spanking is going to be in the wheelhouse. You know, we all have our kryptonite, and I'll figure out whatever my kids are. But so anyway, that's the Minisode for today. I hope you enjoyed the past 2 episodes. We've done some really great ones. This past one was about your BMs. If you're struggling with that, if you're the kind that only listens to the Minisodes, just take a gander at some of what the longer ones are about. You might learn something. Well, we all will learn something. We always do. Be a lifelong learner. But, excuse me. Anyway, stay tuned for next week. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but that's okay. And say bye, Jasmine. All right. Everybody have a great weekend and happy belated Easter and happy springtime. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the FFP Alignment Podcast. Please support us by downloading, rating, and recommending us to your friends and family. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at the FitFem Project. That's FITFEMME Project. And for those of you looking to find their essential balance of lifestyle and fitness, book a free consult by going to thefitfemproject.com. That's FITFEMME project.com and click apply now. Until next time, this is the FitFem Project Alignment Podcast.